All right, Mafia. When it comes to the Big 12 rebrand, I have seen murmurs of this, again, in corners that you and I are both in, and it feels like at some point, the businessman Brett Yormark he's not going to stand for a 16-team league being called the Big 12. Are we approaching territory where a name change, a logo rebrand, where something is different?
They're going to need to do something. He knows that we're not going to be at 12 for maybe ever again, depending on how realignment goes. So, yeah, I think it makes sense to rebrand. The question is, do you bring in another number? Do you drop the big? Those are real big concerns. But you know what? We've got the best guy in college football, or call all of college athletics, to do it. Brett Yormark has been a master of advertising and a master of marketing for the last 25, 30 years. I would call him even an expert. So the chance that they pick something that isn't going to work, and I'm just going to use one example, the Washington Commanders, that's a hard name to fall in love with, right? They didn't do a good job. In fact, they're talking about possibly making it the Redskins again. So the Big 12 name is very, very valuable, but I think he wants something that is going to cover this conference that is pretty much wall to wall across the country. Now, what that is, I could not guess. If it has a number in it, I will be surprised, because I think he knows in the next 2 or 3 years we could be Big 20. So why do all that relabeling, all the hassle that it is for the schools to paper over their stuff that is currently Big 12, and instead make it a name that it really stands on its own? So I have all the faith in the world that Brett Yormark's going to do something good with it. And honestly, I'm just waiting with bated breath, because I need to make sure I can change my name to cover it.
Yeah. Big 12 Mafia going away and becoming Heartland Conference Mafia or whatever.
There, maybe, yeah,
coast
or
to coast
the Continental
Mafia.
Football Conglomerate. Who knows?
Oh yeah, you really touched on something I wanted to get to next, and that is papering over everything that exists. Every piece of the flag behind me with the Big 12 logo, to the Baylor field, to the BYU field. Now these new teams that have come in, it's all got that Big 12 logo on it. So if you change, then it's going to cost the conference. It's going to cost the teams. And again, when you talk about publicity, a name change is tough. Bands don't change their name because it's way tougher to find somebody, or tougher to, and the Commanders are a great example of, so many people have really struggled to adjust to an NFL team having a different name, much less a massive conference. Is there a way to get everybody on board? How tantalizing is the process of papering over everything this conference has?
I think there's a lot. Think about it. There's only 8 original members of the Hateful Eight that are still in the conference. So now you have a conference that has 8 new schools that, they respect the Big 12 name, but they weren't born into it.
Right.
Versus schools that want to keep Big 12 because that's what they've had for now. What is it, 25 years?
Yeah.
So it would be an extreme, it's polarization. And I guarantee you they're sitting in a room, I don't know, the ADs, whoever their marketing people are for each school, and they're going to be sitting in there with a whiteboard, and they're going to be, okay, let's come up with some ideas. And you're going to get a lot of Hateful Eight all pretty much saying the same names, and everybody else is going to be coming up with something that's completely different. So I don't envy Brett Yormark. I think it'd be cool to see that process play out, but you're not going to see anything like, which do you like better? There's not going to be a poll that the Big 12 conference puts out and says, we have narrowed it down to these 6 things. What do you guys think it'll be? No, that's not going to work. They're going to have to make just a decision. And you know what? I would say there's a 5% chance they just keep Big 12 because at the end of the day, it's already built into the market. You don't have to change anything. And look at what the Big Ten has done with their name. They've been Big Ten, and yet they've been Big 14, 16, 25, whatever it is, forever. Right. So why change it all? I think there is a chance that they decide not to do anything.
Well, any decision about public relations, marketing, and advertising, where this falls into, I feel like it's that category, deals with, it's that word again, it's money.
Yeah, of course.
Does a rebrand make you more money? Is there something profitable in a rebrand here?
Well, sure. I mean, if you want to just look at it from dollars and cents, if they do a rebrand, everybody has to buy new gear. So you're going to have a short-term gain in the first couple of years where everybody's going to be buying the new stuff. But after that, it's not going to be any different from what you're currently selling now. The schools are going to be in the league next year. Everybody will be. And so you'll have in this next 12 months, or 11 months at this point, you're going to have a lot of schools buying gear that is Big 12, or they're going to wait and not buy anything thinking that a name change is coming. I got to believe that Brett Yormark needs to make a decision on a name soon. If they're not going to change, tell people they're not going to change so that they can get the new gear in preparation for the 24 season. If they're not going to change it, tell them, and they'll go and buy the old stuff. But I think there needs to be a decision made probably in the next month or two. What's ironic is I finally got my Big 12 flag. I had to wait a month for it. It was on back order. And now they're talking about doing a new name. So on Amazon, at least I can return it for 60 days.
Yeah, you can. I did the same thing right on Amazon, and it was a month for a flag to get here, which is absurd. So we need to change that. Somebody, please. Nathan, before we go on to the college football playoff and how it could look different very soon and should and will, to wrap up this branding conversation, if you were the one making the decision, do you make a change? And if so, do you have any ideas?
I mean, I've spent a lot of time on it. If you want to go to a number, you know what I think would be cool? It would be Big 20. Now, I know you don't have 20 yet, but if you're thinking down the road that you're going to be somewhere in that range, and that's where you're going to finally settle, the XX brand, I think, would be kick-ass on a thing. The other way you could go is just oh, no, I just lost it. Something else with an X. The X outside of taking over Twitter is really a cool, or maybe you can't do Z because Russia's using Z. I'm not sure what you do, but there are some opportunities for new names. But I don't want to be the one making the decision.
Well, I tell you what, a much cooler decision to make would be to decide the future of the college football playoff. That's the room that I want to be in, those conversations. Yes. And we're going to have that conversation right here on Locked On Big 12, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It is your team, and it is every day.